The Galactic Council had made a grave miscalculation. Jin stood in the center of the Krovax arena, her chest heaving, blood, not all of it hers, splattered across her torn jumpsuit. 8 bodies lay scattered around her like broken dolls. The crimson sand beneath her feet told stories of violence that would make seasoned warriors weep. Above, in the observation decks, thousands of alien spectators sat in stunned silence. The entertainment they'd expected had transformed into something else entirely. Something terrifying, impossible, hissed Administrator Vexither, his serpentine body coiling tighter around his command throne. How is a Class 7 juvenile still standing? Beside him, Helen adjusted his neural interface, his fingers trembling despite years of military conditioning. He'd been captured 3 cycles ago, forced into service monitoring the arena's systems, watching his fellow human, a girl who couldn't be more than 19 standard years, had awakened something he'd thought the Krovax had beaten out of him. Hope. Double quotes, sir. Helen said carefully, keeping his voice steady. The human is from Earth, a death world. The competitors you sent against her were from civilized planets, garden worlds. Vexither's multiple eyes swiveled toward him. Silence, slave. I did not ask for your analysis. But Helen could see the administrator's confidence cracking. They'd thrown Jin into the arena, expecting a quick execution. Standard procedure for troublesome specimens. The Krovax Empire had perfected this entertainment over millennia. Pit the defiant against trained gladiators. Let the masses enjoy the spectacle, dispose of the bodies. Move on. Urgin had rewritten their script in blood. The first opponent had been a Threxian warrior, all forearms wielding plasma blades. Jin had dodged with impossible speed, grabbed a handful of sand, and thrown it into his primary eyes. While he screamed, she'd taken his weapon and ended him with brutal efficiency. The second and third came together, Volgrim twins, famous for their synchronized attacks. Jin had used one as a shield against the other, then turned their own momentum against them. Their exoskeletons, designed to withstand energy weapons, crumpled under kinetic force applied at precise angles. By the 5th kill, the crowd had stopped cheering. By the 8th, they'd started leaving. Send in the next wave, Vexither commanded, his voice shrill with desperation. Helen's fingers paused over the control panel. Administrator, the guards are. They're refusing, sir. WHAT? They've seen the footage. They're calling her the Ghost of Terra. They say she fights like death itself. Helen couldn't suppress the small smile tugging at his lips. They say no amount of credits is worth entering that arena. Vexither slammed an appendage against his throne. Cowards! I'll have them all executed for, sir. Another technician interrupted. The human is. She's speaking. All eyes turned to the holo display. Jin had walked to the center of the arena, standing beneath the primary observation deck where Vexither held court. Her voice, amplified by the arena's systems, rang clear and cold. I know you're watching, you piece of shit. She pointed upward, her dark eyes finding the exact location of the administrator's booth despite the one-way shielding. You took me from a colony ship, killed my family, threw me in here thinking I'd break. She spread her arms wide, gesturing to the carnage around her. I'm from Earth. We don't break. We break you. The arena's silence was absolute. Even the arena's atmospheric processors seemed to quiet, as if the station itself held its breath. Helen felt electricity run down his spine. He'd spent months in captivity, watching humans be degraded, tortured, killed for entertainment. He'd watched his own captain torn apart by a pack of Rendlith hunters while Vexither laughed. He'd thought the fire inside him had died, but Jin's words reignited it. Sir, Helen said quietly, I'm getting readings of a disturbance in docking bay 7. I don't care about, it's a human vessel, sir. Unknown configuration. They're demanding the release of all human prisoners. Vexither's skin paled to a sickly gray. That's impossible. Humans don't have FTL capability. They're primitives. Helen allowed himself a full smile now. We're primitives, sir. Past tense. It appears we've been busy while you've been playing your games. The station shuddered. Alarms began wailing throughout the complex. On the displays, Helen watched as actual human soldiers in powered armor breached through the station's outer hull with terrifying precision. Vexither stood, his confidence evaporating. This This cannot be. Oh, but it is, Helen said. His voice no longer that of a slave, but of a soldier remembering his purpose. His fingers flew across the console, unlocking every cell, deactivating every restraint field, opening every door between the prisoners and freedom. You see, Administrator, you made one critical error. What error? Vexither whispered. Helen leaned close. You thought we were alone. The door to the command center exploded inward. Human Marines poured through, weapons raised. At their center walked a woman in a captain's uniform, her insignia marking her as belonging to the newly formed Terran Defense Coalition. Stand down. She commanded, her voice carrying absolute authority. This station is now under human jurisdiction. All sentient beings will be evacuated. This facility will be destroyed. Vexither collapsed, his body going limp with shock. Helen stood, saluted. Captain, Private Helen Morrison, formerly of the colony ship Magellan, reporting for duty. The captain returned his salute crisply. Welcome back, Private. Now let's get that girl out of the arena. I hear she's had a rough day. When they reached Jin, she was sitting on a pile of rubble, cleaning blood from her hands with a torn piece of cloth. She looked up as they approached, and Helen saw in her eyes what he suspected the entire galaxy would soon learn to recognize: the indomitable will of humanity. Took you long enough, Jin said, standing. The captain smiled. We came as fast as we could. You did good, kid. Real good. Jin glanced back at the arena one last time. How long before we blow this place? 1 hour. Good. Jin walked past them toward the exit, her voice carrying back. These bastards wanted a show. Hope they enjoyed it. Because Earth remembers. And Earth is coming. As Helen followed her out, past the cowering guards and fleeing administrators, past the cells where hundreds of humans now walked free, he understood the truth that would soon reshape galactic politics forever. Humanity had been tested in the crucible, had been judged as prey. They'd been wrong. Humanity wasn't prey. Humanity was the apex predator, and the galaxy had just woken the sleeping giant, the Krovax Arena, monument to 10,000 years of cruelty, burned behind them as they departed. Its destruction would be a message, one written in fire and transmitted across 1,000 worlds. Earth had arrived, and it was not asking for permission.